Okay, welcome. Today is our Tuesday Bliss Techniques meeting, which I've considered renaming to Relax into Health, Wealth, and Happiness, but for today it's still Bliss Techniques. But same basic idea. So as usual, this is will be a guided practice, and it'll be a little bit the same and a little bit different. Today we're going to start a series that will be a very deep healing series. So we're going to be focusing on the subtler aspects of deeper healing. And so we will take a few moments for some preliminaries at the beginning. But everybody, I think, at this point has enough of the knowledge of the preliminaries that you can do those things on your own, and you should at this point be able to get very good results from those things, basic movements and somatic awareness and so forth. And so I want to take the time in these meetings for the guided practice to focus on the deeper healing aspects. So today, as usual, we're going to want to have a good situation for ourselves. So that means a place where you can really feel as comfortable and safe as is possible. And that doesn't mean you have to achieve perfection in that, because goodness knows, life will provide plenty of interesting things that you didn't expect, that are not necessarily in your control, or however you want to understand it. And that's fine. That's part of the healing, actually. So you don't have to have any anxiety or worry about any of that, because whatever comes is what's perfect. But we want to do our part initially to set ourselves up in a good way. So if you can have as reasonably of a quiet, comfortable space as possible, that would be excellent. And whatever you cannot control, simply accept. We will, for those who are more advanced than me, you will be able to do this in any posture at any time, whether at rest or in movement. And so then there's that. But for the rest of us, probably a very nicely supported posture. And I will suggest for the main portion of the practice, for most people, lying down in a very supported position will probably be optimal, because it will remove a lot of the noise and distraction that might otherwise interfere with you being able to give your full attention to the deeper healing that's taking place. Now, to be clear, the deeper healing cannot be interfered with by any of those things. So the deeper healing happens regardless, as long as you have the healing intention. However, it will be much more enjoyable and pleasant, and you'll get nicer, faster results, most likely, if you can be comfortable. So, long-winded way of saying, for most of us, having a nice place to lie down will be good. But you can do it seated if you prefer, and that's totally fine. And if you're not sure, you can try it both ways. and that's totally acceptable. So as I say, it's a guided practice that we'll be doing, and the intention is a healing intention. And as I've already said repeatedly, we're going to be focusing on the deeper healing aspects starting today and proceeding forward for an indeterminate amount of time. And so you want to have some clarity about your healing intention. And if you don't have clarity about your healing intention, well, that's also part of the process. So you'll gain greater clarity as you go. I think you've probably noticed that. I mean, I've been inviting you to explore your healing intention for quite a while now, and probably you still don't know exactly what I'm talking about, but you have more clarity than you did. And that's how it goes. So you'll continue to gain greater clarity as you continue to engage in the process. I think that's most of what I need to say about that. Well, I'll just say one more thing, and I'll probably elaborate on it more later as well. But I want to really emphasize the power of intention, which I often do, but I just want to briefly emphasize that once more here, that your intention is enormously powerful. Now, there are things that can interfere with your intention. Obviously, you know this because you have an intention and then it doesn't seem to fully manifest in a permanent way as you might like. Over time, I hope that you notice that it is manifesting more and more, but you probably notice that it kind of happens in fits and starts, and sometimes it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You'll have a moment of complete acceptance of the healing um, of your birthright as bliss and completeness and peace and strength and health at all levels. And maybe that just comes for a second, or maybe it comes for 5 seconds, or maybe it comes for half an hour, and then something happens and it doesn't seem to be sustained. So that's how it goes, of course. But I want you to notice that just having the intention is what allows for or at least it facilitates the manifestation at all. And then what we want to notice is, why is it that, what is it that's interfering here? And why is it that I can have this glimpse? Why is it that I can have this moment? Why can I have a half an hour or half a day or whatever, that I'm really accepting the healing and experiencing the fullness of it, and then it somehow is interfered with? What is it that's happening? We want to start to observe that, because if we don't, knowledge is power. If we don't have the knowledge that comes through the direct revelation of what it is that's going on, then we'll continue to feel that we're victims. And so being aware is really, really important. But the main point is that your intention is enormously powerful. And I think that you'll see even more deeply how that's true today. So, okay, so we'll do a few preliminaries just so that we can get adequately comfortable. We won't take a lot of time on it, but we will do a little bit of movement. So if you don't wish to, then as usual, you needn't. But for those who would like to and are able to, it can be a useful thing. So let's start by getting on all fours, hands and knees. And as always, you want to be comfortable when you're in everything that you do. So see if you can even find a way to get onto all fours in a way that's comfortable. So that the transition from whatever you're doing presently to what you're about to do, the whole transition can also be comfortable. Maybe that's something that you hadn't fully considered that was even a possibility, but indeed it is, and you can choose it. So when you are, there's no rush, but when you are on all fours, hands and knees, then take a moment to really be here. So a lot of the time we are constantly in motion and we don't actually ever arrive. We don't really arrive here. So we want to give ourselves that gift. Here you are, be here. Really notice that you're here. Allow yourself to be here. Feel the contact with the surface that you are on, probably the floor, whatever that may be. Feel the contact of the knees and the hands, and feel that the whole body can be supported so that you don't have to work so hard. Allow yourself to breathe through the nose in a relaxed way. And it can help just to have a sense of an inner smile or an inner ease, so that there's a sense that all is well. And just allow that so that you can really find that inner relaxation. Just a note about that, it's very important that we allow that inner relaxation, because all of our organs are in there. And if we're uptight, inwardly tense, then our organs cannot function optimally. And so we put ourselves at a disadvantage. So the more we can allow ourselves that inner relaxation, that inner peace, that inner calm, just by turning inward and just having that inner smile or that inner sense that all is well, then everything can start to flow harmoniously, and we instantly produce magnificent amounts of healing just by something so simple. So now, continuing to breathe through the nose in a relaxed way, maintaining this inner relaxation, just take a few moments to explore some movements, and I'll suggest some to you. You can explore on your own if you prefer, or if you would rather, you can take my suggestions. So well, we can start by rocking gently forward and backward. And as usual, when you're rocking forward and backward, allow the whole body to participate in that, so that it's a smooth, continuous, pleasurable movement that can be felt as an energetic flow through the whole self. So it's not just something rigid and mechanical, but that it's really alive, flowing, and you can feel that energetic flow. Really give yourself that gift. Allow yourself that. There's no reason why you need to be tense or hurried or rushing or anything like that. You can really let go and relax and ease into the flow of this gentle rocking movement. Now, don't think that you have to do a big movement. You can do a small movement. Don't think that you're constrained to do a small movement. You can do a big movement. You can do any sort of movement as long as you feel confident, comfortable, and at ease as you do it. And allow the movement to help you to relax even more deeply, to open to being here, to open to your whole self, to the feeling self, to the energetic self, so that there can be a flow of the whole self within itself. And then everything is harmonized, everything can relax, everything can feel very good. Make sure that the face is relaxed and the jaw is relaxed. And notice that, as I've already mentioned, the whole self is involved in the movement. So let your whole, particularly your whole spine, feel the movement, feel the flow all along the whole spine, from tailbone to head and head to tailbone as you're doing the movement. Now, for those who would like to do so, we can combine with this some head turning, so you can turn the head side to side as you're rocking in whatever way that you would like. So you could coordinate the movement so that as you rock forward, you turn the head to the side, and as you rock back, you turn the head forward. And as you rock forward, you turn the head to the side, and so forth. You could do the opposite coordination, or you could do no coordination at all. Or if you prefer, just simply to stop the rocking and just do the head turning independently, that's also fine. Whatever's comfortable for you. But the idea is that we want to engage with we can do side to side, we can do forward and backward, which also engages the spine in this flexion and extension pattern. And if we combine the two, then we've really kind of combined the full range of movement, to be honest. I mean, we could elaborate on it, but it gives us the foundation of all of the different types of movement that we can do. So now I think that's good enough. If you feel the need to do some other movement, you can take a few moments to do that. And for the rest of us, find your way with smoothness and pleasure into the posture that you can remain in restfully for the remainder of our practice. So that's quite a while. Now, if that already produces some fear in you or anxiety of, oh no, I don't think I can do it, then just let that go. It's just a game. Nobody's judging you. You'll get the benefits regardless. But we are aiming here to allow for as much rest and stillness as is possible, because this will help us to tune in to the deeper healing. So that's why I've suggested for most of us, lying down is going to be the best, because it will really allow us to let go. But you could do it seated if you prefer. If you're going to be lying down, then you want to make sure that you're going to be able to be comfortable enough. I add the enough there because, frankly, when you allow yourself to be still for long enough, you're going to feel some things. And your nervous system could interpret those things in any sort of way. So some of it maybe you will perceive as, who knows? But we want to we want to set ourselves up for success. So you want to be as comfortable as you can, reasonably. So if you prefer to have some support under parts of the body, then provide yourself with that. Pillows, cushions, whatever it may be. If you're in a space that's a little bit cool for your liking, or even if it's marginally cool, be aware that as you allow yourself to rest more and more, you'll perhaps be more sensitive to that. So you might want a blanket to put on top. So, some props could be helpful, but not actually necessary in all cases, but they could be nice. With all that said, you don't want to be so comfortable that you'll fall asleep. Although if that happens, that's okay. But ideally, you want to not fall asleep. So hopefully that's clear enough to you. So there's no rush. You can set yourself up, take the time as needed. But for those who may already be in their posture, awaiting eagerly the deeper healing, I will give some guidance for that. And for anybody who's still needing to set themselves up, take your time, and it will be perfect whenever you're able to join in with the guided instruction. So let's start by noticing the breath. And hopefully you're still breathing through the nose. Hopefully you're breathing in a relaxed way. And I'd like to bring your attention to what's happening in the torso as you breathe. And to help with this, if it's possible for you to do so comfortably, then I invite you to place your hands on the waist on either side. And when I say waist, um, what I'm talking about is the space between I don't know why I had to look at my hand for that, but you're going to bringing your attention to the space between the lower ribs and the hip on left and right side. So whatever method for placing your hand in that area is most comfortable for you is going to be fine. I like to just lay the palm on the side of the waist on either side. So right hand on the right side, left hand on the left side, fingers comfortably spread. So the thumb is either on or just below the lower ribs, and the pinky finger would be down in it's toward the inguinal crease area. Depends on how big your hands are, I suppose, but something around that, approximating that. And if you prefer a different way to do it, you may do that. But the idea here is that you want to be aware of this area, and you want to allow it to relax. So you're breathing comfortably, smoothly, calmly through the nose. And your attention is where your hands are placed, so that you're aware of this entire area. And notice wherever you have attention, where you ever have a habit or a tendency to tense up in this region. So a lot of different possibilities, but just be aware. And at first you might not really know what it is that you're even aware of. It might be so much information, so much noise going on, you don't know what it is that you're feeling or noticing, or what should be happening, or what it should feel like, or what's the right way, or anything. That's okay. We have to start where we are. So if that's what's happening, that's absolutely okay. You can succeed. In fact, just by being willing to engage, you are succeeding. So just remember that you're always having the perfect experience. Sometimes we don't think that we're having the perfect experience, but we definitely are. So just relax, trust in the process, and know that there is within you an intelligence that knows, and you are allowing yourself bit by bit to surrender to that intelligence. So there's an aspect of the mind that most of us become overly identified with, that knows things that it has memorized. So it has a lot of memorized information, but when it comes to some kind of foundation and absolute knowledge, it's absolutely lost and hopeless, because it doesn't have access to that. So the tendency to fall into overwhelm is because of that over-reliance on the mechanical, repetitive, memorized aspect of the mind, because it doesn't know. It's lost, actually. Here, we're just relaxing, noticing, and whatever whatever surfaces, just trust that it's okay, and continue to breathe in a relaxed, calm fashion. Don't breathe in a particularly big way. Don't breathe in an artificially small way. Don't try to breathe in an artificially slow way, but let the breath be relaxed and calm. Let the tongue relax and let the eyes relax. If you're comfortable closing the eyes and you are not concerned that you'll fall asleep, that's absolutely fine. If you have some concern that you might fall asleep, then you might prefer to keep the eyes open, but you can still relax the eyeballs. We really want to start to allow for our attention to be with the inner sight. We don't need to give so much attention to the outer sight right now. Okay, so if you would like to keep your hands here, if that's comfortable for you and you feel that you can keep the hands here for the duration of the practice, then that's fine. Otherwise, if you prefer to place the hands and arms in a different way, that's fine, and you may do so now. But from this point forward, we're going to attempt as best as is possible to just remain relaxed and still so that there's no unnecessary voluntary movement there other than breathing. And the breathing, we're also going to allow as best we can to be involuntary. So really we want to, as best we can, cease to make any voluntary movement and allow the movement to be completely involuntary. Now, that's quite a lot to ask of ourselves. So don't be too hard on yourself if you are unable to succeed in that completely. If at first you don't succeed, that's okay. Just continue to return to this simple intention to relax and allow, and you don't need to make any voluntary movement. You'll just allow for any involuntary movement to occur as it does. And again, if you find that you make some voluntary movement, accept that and then just return right away to relaxing and allowing without any voluntary movement. So this is the fundamental basis of the deeper healing practice. And I'm going to give some more guidance on this, but I want to take a moment for everybody to really notice how powerful this simple practice is. By consciously relaxing all of the voluntary movement and allowing for the spontaneous involuntary movement, spontaneous involuntary respiration, and whatever else may occur, we are surrendering the aspects of ourselves that we've identified with, which have gotten stuck in patterns that are not optimal. So I've pointed this out many times. We have an enormous number of habitual patterns that manifest as tensions and movements, compulsive movements. And those are the patterns that we identify with unconsciously that produce the sense of limitation that we then experience or perceive in a variety of ways: physical limitation, emotional limitation, etc. All kinds of sense of limitation. But that sense of limitation, I'm repeating now, but just to make the point, the sense of limitation that we perceive, be it at a physical level, mental level, emotional level, or any other level, is actually the byproduct of these compulsive tensions or compulsive movements. So as we relax with awareness, with the intention of not making any voluntary movement, what happens is all those things that were previously unconscious begin to become conscious. And as they become conscious, then there's two possibilities. One possibility is that it's what I call low-hanging fruit. And in this deep healing practice, a lot of things become low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit is whatever can become conscious and that we can then not indulge. So we continue to relax and the movement does not happen. So we've done that, thereby regained conscious control and the ability to relax. Second possibility is that these things are they um, that we're not able to do that. We're not able to exercise the ability to make it a conscious thing, or conscious enough that we cannot do the movement. But then, because we're very deeply surrendered, then the movement is done by something else. And when you start to experience this, as you may be experiencing presently, you'll notice that certain things start to happen and you're not doing it. So these are involuntary movements. So when the breathing becomes involuntary, for example, then you're not doing the breathing, but the breathing is happening. And you'll notice that this starts to happen with other things as well. So you might experience twitching, spasms, little funny things that I don't have names for. But you might start to experience these things just as a result of not doing anything. But something is doing it, or it's happening. So this is part of the deeper healing. So there's two aspects of the deeper healing. The first one is that it's the low-hanging fruit. So by relaxing deeply, we can allow for things to become conscious that we can then choose not to indulge. So we regain our ability to consciously relax, which in and of itself is very, very powerful. The second thing is that we are learning a deeper surrender. And we realize through this that something is doing all of this. So now I'm going to invite you on an inner exploration where we can begin to see the truth of that, and we can begin to discover how to relate to that. So we can notice that much of the time we've forgotten, but nonetheless, all of these processes which are involuntary, are happening completely involuntarily without us doing it all the time. So the heart is beating. So you can just notice that that is true. You can notice right now that the heart is beating. You might even be able to feel it. You might even be able to hear it. When you can feel and hear the heart beating, and this might seem trivial, but actually it's a big deal, because what that's demonstrating to you is that your inner senses are awakened. You have the ability to sense inner phenomena, so you can hear and feel the heart beating. And it's happening without you doing it. You are a witness to it, but you don't do it. And that's happening all the time. And as the heart is beating, of course, the entire circulatory system is functioning in a harmonious fashion so that the blood is circulating. Turns out that the entire circulatory system actually is functioning in a completely harmonious, coordinated way. It's not just a passive thing that the blood moves because the heart beats. And it turns out actually that the smooth muscles lining all of the cardiovascular system are moving in a coordinated fashion to continue to move the blood along. So the whole thing is completely harmonious without you doing it. Your digestive system, whether you think your digestive system is working well or not, nonetheless, it is functioning to whatever degree it is, and it is functioning with magnificent uh, complexity, and all without you doing it. So that we could go on and on, all of the different organs, all of the different systems, all of the inner experience. And it's all operating perfectly, harmoniously, and magnificently, always without you doing it. Now, the same intelligence which is doing all of that in you is doing all of that in everybody. And in everything, sentient and insentient, and plant, mineral, animal, everywhere, in all all of the all of everything. The planets moving around the sun, the moon moving around the planets, the galaxies swirling around themselves, so forth. All of it is happening, and it's that same intelligence organizing everything. So this intelligence knows it is infinite intelligence. There is nothing that it does not know. You think about how much you know a lot. But compared to infinite intelligence, you know practically nothing. So all of your struggles, all of your difficulties, it's because of your limited knowledge. When you surrender to this infinite intelligence, you're surrendering to infinite intelligence, which knows how to do everything. So all you have to do, and this is the truth, all you have to do is just continue to relax, surrender to this infinite intelligence, and receive the deep healing. Then you can observe how it is that you interfere or reject the receiving of that healing fully. Because there's a universal law of free will. So this infinite intelligence can do everything and anything. Everything that exists is created by, operated by, completely under the domain of this infinite intelligence. And it can do all of it perfectly. However, you have free will. And on any level, if you say no, then there you go. Well, we're doing that all the time, aren't we? So don't despair. There's good news here. We can learn how it is that we reject it, and thereby we can allow ourselves to fully receive it. So just observe now as you're relaxing deeply, noticing this supreme intelligence, which is organizing and operating everything, big and small, in the entire universe and inside of you. And invite this intelligence to bring and manifest its perfect healing in you now. Just silently within yourself, say, I invite you, the supreme intelligence, to manifest your perfect healing in me now at all levels. And then just notice how you reject it. Now, the rejection is not total. If it was total, you would be dead. It's partial. So it doesn't, so you have to look maybe somewhat subtly, or maybe it's perfectly obvious to you right away. And there may be many ways in which you reject it, but just notice whatever you can notice in this moment. So you just silently to yourself, with a sincere intention, invite this supreme intelligence to manifest its perfect healing in you now at all levels, and then just quietly observe how you reject it. What happens? What do you do? Maybe there's some thought that says, I can't. Maybe there's some memory of how you are unwell. Maybe there's some image of what you need to do in order to receive the healing and you haven't done it yet. So you're putting off into the future. So many possibilities, but just see. And when you see those things, give thanks and just surrender more deeply. Know that your intention is enormously powerful. So your intention is more powerful than all of the past. Your intention is more powerful than any thought that you could have. So, what it is that actually blocks or interferes with receiving the complete healing is not the thought or the image or the memory or any of those things in and of themselves, because they don't have the power. It's your acceptance of them. So, when you meet them with your true intention, your true healing intention, then they no longer have power over you. So, the process here is we're relaxing deeply, making no voluntary movements, just allowing for the involuntary movements to occur as they do. Really allow yourself to relax. So this is not an exercise in any way in enduring, straining, or any of those sorts of things. It's about deeply relaxing and receiving the complete healing. And then you affirm to yourself, I now receive the complete healing of the divine intelligence at all levels of my being, mentally, emotionally, physically, energetically, in all ways. And then you just notice, well, first of all, now maybe you notice that you actually can receive it. So really then allow yourself to receive that, to really deeply receive that complete healing, and notice how wonderful that feels. To know that you are truly well, that you are permanently well, that there is nothing that could harm you, that you are one with the supreme intelligence, receiving its blessing every moment, that you are protected, cared for, safe, powerful. And then if you notice anything that comes up to reject or block the full healing, permanent healing, anything that says, oh, it's not true, or it won't really work, or it won't last, or this is just in my imagination, or I've done this kind of thing before, and I know that an hour later from now, I'll still be suffering, or what, any of these kinds of things, anything. Just give thanks that you are now consciously aware of it and choose to meet it with your true intention and know that your intention is more powerful. You want to see how this is actually true in your actual experience. You see how your intention, which is very subtle, your intention here is just to receive the complete healing, to receive the complete healing, to receive the complete healing of supreme divine intelligence at all levels of your being. And to see how then nothing can stand in the way of that. Nothing has any power over that. The only thing that can stop it is your free will. If you choose to accept that those things have power, suddenly they do. Not because they have inherent power, but because you've given them power. Now, I'm saying all of this. I want to be really clear. None of this is in any way to be used against yourself, because that can be a mistake that we can make. We can have the authentic realization of the truth of all of this. We can receive the healing, and then we can reject it. And then we can turn against ourselves and say, oh, I'm a failure. I'll never succeed. I'm, I'm all kinds of things. And that's just another thing. It's just a deeper layer of the conditioning that you've accepted as yourself that has limited you. So whatever arises, any negativity, any despair, hopelessness, overwhelm, anger, frustration, anything of that sort, just receive it in the same way. Give thanks and meet it with your true healing intention, and know that it has no power over you. Just continue to receive the full healing of infinite divine intelligence. This infinite divine intelligence knows everything about you and knows the truth of you, knows the truth of you is good fundamentally. So you can trust in it. Trust that your deepest heartfelt desires can all be manifest by allowing and surrendering to this divine intelligence. Now, as we are going to conclude our guided practice momentarily, we want to take a few moments to direct the healing specifically in any way that seems appropriate or necessary. Meaning, if you have any residual fears or doubts, uh, if you have a specific concern that the healing hasn't or cannot manifest fully in some particular way, so whatever that may be, it could be whatever your particular fears or concerns are. So it could be that you have concern that it can't manifest fully in terms of your digestion, or it cannot manifest fully in terms of your energy, or it cannot manifest fully in terms of your anger, or it cannot manifest fully in terms of uh, a specific challenging relationship that you've had. Whatever it may be, if you have any residual concern or fear like that, then I want you to just consciously direct the healing to that and affirm that divine intelligence manifests its perfect, complete healing in me now at all levels, and that it is supremely powerful. It is the power that organizes and operates the entire universe at all levels. Nothing can interfere with its healing power, and I accept it and receive it now. And if you would like, you can visualize or just intend that healing presence as a light directed to this area of your life, whatever that is. So if it's physical, then you just direct it to that part of your body. If it's emotional, you direct it to the emotion, however you experience it. Wherever it is in your consciousness, or however it is that you experience whatever the challenge is, you can just direct the healing presence as light to that, and feel that that light dissolves whatever obstructions, whatever limitations, whatever fears, whatever may be habitually obscuring the full healing. And just allow yourself for at least one moment just to open to that fully. Just have a glimpse, at the very least, a glimpse of that. And then know and affirm that that is true. It's permanently true. And it's always true. This healing is always here for you. It's always complete for you. So that even if you were to forget, it's not actually lost and you can return to it any time. So now, Just give thanks that this is so. Give thanks that this is available to you, that it is actually true and complete, and that it's always here for you. Think about how long you've struggled and how many are struggling, and what an enormous blessing it is to have this, to receive this gift. So feel that sincerely, and know that as you receive it, the more you receive it, the more easily it is for you to receive it and to extend it, so that it can naturally and effortlessly extend to every aspect of your life and self, even those which you hadn't yet considered. And that it can not only extend to every aspect of yourself and your experience, that it can also extend to those you love and care about. And so as you continue through your day and week, allow yourself to return to this often. If you can allow yourself to return to this uh, at least once a day, that will be very good. The optimal time, if you're going to do it once a day, is just before you go to sleep. So if you can return to this deep healing state as you are lying in bed, and allow yourself to remain in this deep healing state as you transition to sleep, then you will be in this deep healing state all night long, which is very, very powerful. If you can also do it in the morning when you wake up first thing, that will be very powerful and set the tone for your day. And you'll find that you'll continue to discover the depths of this healing, so that it will continue to reveal itself to you in ways that you hadn't even yet considered. And so take your time. There's no rush, at least not on my end. However, this is the conclusion of our guided practice for today. So when you are ready to transition to whatever is next for you, do so mindfully, slowly. To take your time, and remember that this really goes with you from now on. It's always with you. So even if you forget, you can always return to it. And nothing can stop that other than you not receiving it. So choose to receive it often. Every time that you're transitioning from one thing to another, consciously uh, remember this, enter into this briefly, if only briefly, into this deep healing state, and just receive the fullness of it, so that that will be with you as you're engaging in whatever the next activity is. So to put that in context here, whenever you're ready to move, then do so slowly. Begin by reacquainting yourself just inwardly with your body, with each of the parts of your body, so you can just progressively move your attention through the various parts of the body. Start progressively at the feet and move up to all of the parts of the body until you get to the top of the head, so that your attention can re-engage with these parts of the body, and then wiggle the fingers and toes. And when you're ready to actually move into a different position, then move slowly, mindfully, pleasurably, breathing through the nose, calmly. And notice that you can really continue to feel good, that that's really a possibility, that it's just, if you choose to go unconscious and return to old habits, then you could forget and start feeling bad. But at any time, you can remember and relax deeply and know that the fullness and completeness of this healing really is true at all levels. And it will continue to reveal itself to you. And every day, sincerely, every day can be more enriching than the previous. So thank you as always for joining me. Blessings to you all. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.